If you found your way to this video, I am assuming that you know a thing or two about product and that you have heard of the stat that goes 95% of all products fail. Well, I'm not going to talk about whether that is true or not. I'm not going to talk about that 95% of failed products, but I want to know what defines success for that 5%. I want to know, and I bet you also want to know, that what makes that 5% successful. This is Sarah from User Guiding, and today we're talking about product success metrics. Let's start. Before you get confused, let me just clarify one thing. What is a successful product? A successful product is one that fulfills the expectations of its creator and pleases the users in every way possible. To be more specific, it is one that is fit for the market, brings in and has organic traffic, has low churn rates, engages well with customers, and preferably the customers use the product a lot. Now, all this that I mentioned are pretty much prerequisites for a successful product, but we must also keep in mind that success may look very different for each different product. For example, if you take Netflix, a streaming app, and Trivago, a hotel recommendation app, success for them would look extremely different. This is because there are tons of KPIs, and if you try to apply all of them, you're gonna get lost. For Netflix, you might have to use something like monthly active users, while for Trivago, you would have to use NPS. If you're thinking, what is a monthly active user? What is a NPS? Well, let's talk about some product success metrics. Number one metric we have on our list is NPS, or Net Promoter Score. And as you can guess from the name, it is used to find out the number or percentage of promoters you have of your product, or the opposite, the detractors of your product. So to find out your NPS, you would need to conduct an NPS survey. Let's say the survey is on a scale of 0 to 10. Then the people who score you between 0 to 6 would be your detractors, 7 to 8 would be neutral, and 9 to 10 would be your promoters. To calculate your Net Promoter Score, all you have to do is subtract the number or percentage of detractors from the number or percentage of promoters you have once you have conducted your survey and gotten data. Second on the list is CRR, or client retention rate, or customer retention rate, whatever you want to call it. This is basically the number or percentage of your most loyal customers, the people that you have successfully retained. And measuring this metric is not so simple, but not so complicated either. All you have to do is decide on a time period, and then take the number of new customers that you acquired, subtract it from the number of your total customers, divide it by the total number of customers that you had before this period, and multiply it by 100, and there you have your CRR. Next up, we have active user percentages like monthly, weekly, or daily active users. Just because you acquired a customer doesn't mean that they're going to stick around forever. So what you want to do is check how often they use your platform or product. But I should also warn you that not all products need to check such a metric. We've already talked about the Netflix example. Let me bring up another. For example, if you're using a onboarding tool like UserGuiding, you are obviously not going to check your onboarding tools and product tours every single day. If you're an admin, maybe you're going to use the tool twice a week, 10 times a month, maybe. So this is a little cautionary message. Don't take it too seriously if your product is not one that the users are not going to use every single day or very often every month. Next up on our list is MRR, or monthly recurring revenue. Now this is one of the metrics that you cannot ignore ever, because this is the most important metric basically that almost every company uses. You are going to use this metric to do financial forecasting, to see how long you're going to last as a company, to decide on different strategies, etc. The list goes on. To calculate it, though, is very simple. All you have to do is take the number of monthly users you have and multiply this by the average revenue per user, and there you have your MRR. Next on our list is customer lifetime value, which is compared to MRR is a fairly individualistic metric. Basically what you're doing is taking a closer look at your customers and deciding their value for your business, seeing if they are going to be a repeat user, how much they are worth to retain them, etc. It might sound a little mean, but this calculation is something you need to be doing. First, you take your average purchase value and then multiply it by average purchase frequency, and then take the outcome value and multiply it by your average customer lifespan, and there you have your customer lifetime value. Next up, we have customer acquisition cost, which is a metric to show you whether you're playing a losing game or not. Basically, if you're bringing in customers and paying a lot of money for that in the meantime, and then find out that they are not bringing in profit as much as you paid for them, that means your customer acquisition costs are pretty high. To measure it, all you have to do is take a period of time and then take the expenses you have made for the marketing and sales departments at that given time, and then divide it by the number of customers you have brought in to your business. Also, be warned, the co-founder of PayKickstart.com, Mark Thompson, warns us that customer acquisition costs might be a little miscalculated and a little misleading at times, especially if they are only calculated monthly. He advises that we calculate them on different time periods and like longer, shorter time periods, and compare them and take decisions according to that. Now, these are some of the main metrics that every business uses, but there are still some more specific ones that we can talk about, like profit margin. Profit margin is actually pretty similar to customer acquisition cost, but it is basically more broad and it can involve any kind of expense. All you have to do to calculate it is divide your profit by your revenue and then multiply it by 100. There you have your profit margin. Another important KPI, which is not always mentioned among the most important ones, but is still a very important one, especially for marketing-oriented companies, is traffic. Evaluating your paid and organic traffic can lead to deciding whether a distribution channel is effective or not, which can save you a lot of money at the end of the day. It also helps you build more effective and more meaningful strategies, like, are you going to publish content on your blog, or are you going to do it or distribute it on social media? Do people reach your website through links that you put in your blog, or are they finding you through recommendations? This all is very important and things that you can solve by simply looking at your traffic. Another KPI that you can look at is bounce rate, which is the percentage of people that only spend time on one page of your website and then leave without doing anything else, without taking any more action. So basically, you can calculate and track that by using tools like Google Analytics or Clicky. It is pretty simple, basically. But you should probably know what is good and what is not when it comes to bounce rates. So if your bounce rate is between 20% and 40%, it is excellent. If it's around like 50% or 55%, it's average. It's all right, it happens. If it's any more higher than that, there might be a problem. If it's around 90% or below 20%, you probably have a serious problem. You need that checked. This next metric is something I know that no company, absolutely no company can ignore. You guessed it, it's customer churn rate. Basically, this is the exact opposite of customer retention rate. It looks at the percentage of customers that stop doing business with you. And it is very simple to calculate, actually. All you have to do is take the number of customers that stopped working with you and divide it by the total number of customers you have, and there you have your customer churn rate. Next, we have session duration, which is not the most effective KPI, but if you know how to use it correctly, it might make a difference in your strategies. For example, if you look at the session durations of your detractors, the users who churn away eventually, you might see the weaknesses of your product more easily, while also you can look at the session duration of your promoters to see where your product is the strongest at. Last on our list, we have customer satisfaction score, which is oftentimes mistaken for NPS, but is actually not the same, because the promoter score looks into whether your customers would recommend your product, while customer satisfaction score looks more into the basically satisfaction of your customers. For example, it can be used for specific products, features, a new update that you have come up with for your product, and it has certain advantages. For example, you can figure out your strongest features, what people like about them, what you can improve, what you can do to improve. And basically, at the same time, you get the advantage of hearing out your customers, which is something they love and something you can benefit from. And that was all for product success metrics and KPIs for today. Believe me, that was just the tip of the iceberg for KPIs and metrics. There are so many of them out there, but hopefully this list is going to be what you need to use. So thanks for watching. This was Sarah from User Guiding, and see you next time.